Hi y'all, it's Latrice with Beauty and Purpose. Listen, I was thinking about a couple things tonight, and I just wanted to log on to encourage my healthcare professionals. And so I want to be honest, this video was really inspired for several reasons. I know several nurses. I come from, my husband's a nurse. You hear me talk about it. My baby, I call her my baby sister, Jocelyn, she's a nurse. Bobby, I have a lot of nurses. My husband's mother is a retired nurse. So I think I understand a lot of what's going on, but I was just thinking, my husband was preparing to go to work tonight, and he's been working nonstop. I think he's only had one day off, and I could just see, as he was preparing to walk out the door, he was tired, and he was like, ugh, not that he didn't want to go to, but he was just like, I'm tired. And as I watched him, I had such an appreciation. But in that moment, my youngest son, I was in the room. He didn't know I was listening. And my youngest son was really sad, and he approached my husband. And I heard him say, I don't understand why you have to go. Daddy, why do you have to go? And he said, son, I have to go. Daddy has to work. I have to go help people. And he was really, my youngest son, Miles, was really upset. And so I just kind of watched that. And I think in that moment, I had such an appreciation. I already had an appreciation, but I just wanted to log on. And I was doing some study this evening, and the Lord just started downloading. So I want to send this message to my healthcare professionals. And I want to let you know how much we appreciate you and all that you're doing, the hours that you work. Because while some of us, yes, it's a new norm, being with kids, being in the house, working from home. But the reality is we get the benefit and the privilege, whether it's in your bed, on your couch, in your pajamas, we're home. But you are required to, go door to door, whether you are a fireman or, as nurses, they are on the front line, taking even more patients, and their new norm is changing, and how they gear up and prepare and come home. And so there's so much that you are having to do. And so first, I want to just say thank you. I want you to know from my heart and from my home, we're praying for you. We appreciate what you're doing. I know that there's so few of you. I hear it all the time from my husband. It's so short. And so there's even more hours. It's not even like, 3 days on and then no. So thank you. But I especially want to encourage those of you who are believers, and you're in the healthcare profession, because I believe you matter at this time. And I just wanted to leave you with something. I like to talk as if maybe some don't know the story, but I want to take you to a story that I love this story. I love the book of Joshua, but this is particular Joshua in the 3rd chapter, and he is preparing the Israelites to cross Jordan. And this is getting ready to be another miraculous mega miracle. And it's also very ironic that it would include water. But Joshua is going through the camp, and he's letting them know, prepare, because tomorrow a miracle. And I want to take you, before we actually get to the miracle, a couple of things that I thought was so important to you. The first thing is, when we go to verse 4, when he's instructing them to prepare, he gives instructions. You have the leaders through the camp. They go through and they give instructions, and they let them know that you're going to follow the ark of the Lord, but there's a certain distance you have to keep. In the Bible even tells you what that is, and I'll even read it for you. But you have to keep a certain distance from the ark. They couldn't get too close to it. They couldn't touch it, because they had to follow it. But here's the thing. I love this particular, in verse 4, it says, but keep a distance of about 1,000 yards between yourselves and the ark. Don't go near it, so that you can see the way to go. for you haven't traveled this way before. And that just stuck out for me because he was letting them know, number one, you couldn't get too close to the presence of the Lord, but he was letting you know that this ark is going to lead you this way. But the thing that I love about it, when I saw that, instantly my radar went off, because as health professionals, nurses, doctors, firemen, we all have not went this way before. This is not a way that is new to us, and you all are on the front line. And I'm sure, just like anyone else, you're trying to navigate through it. I thought about even when the flu, I know we've likened it to the flu a lot. But I know my husband, as a nurse, he's mandated as a nurse to get the flu shot. He hates it. He's normally like the last one they're going to come knocking because he hates getting that shot. But you have to get the flu shot. But there's not a corona shot. There's not something that you can get to prevent it. You're on the front line. But here's the thing that I love about the Old Testament versus the New Testament. Whereas, you had these symbols and things that had to be done and sacrifices and things that were symbolic, but now we're under a new covenant. And whereas this ark was going to lead them the way they go, I want to encourage you that you can draw nigh to God. You can call on him as you are heading out to your car. You can begin to say, Lord, as I'm going in to be used for you in this profession, in this capacity, I need you to lead me and guide me. I need you to set my face like a finch. I don't know who I'm dealing with, but whoever you put in my place, give me how to help them. But here's the thing, you don't have to stay so far away, but he's inviting you to draw nigh. Yes, you're on the front line. You're putting your lives out there, and we thank you. But I want you to know that you have a God that cares about you. He's concerned about you. And as you draw nigh to him, he's going to guide you. He's protecting you. And so even though this isn't a way that you've known, he's right there. But then this is the thing that I love. It also talks about in the next verse, verse 5, it says, he told the people, consecrate yourselves. The Lord will do wonders among you tomorrow. And I remember when I first read this, it threw me a little bit because I was like, because if you know what consecrate means, it's like preparing. It's, it's really like, okay, I'm getting, if I could say, it matters how I come into the presence. There's a consecrating, there's a getting before God. And I was like, that's interesting that he would tell them to do that before you get ready to go into a miracle. But I believe that it is very, very important. There's spiritual preparation before you have a divine manifestation. And so I want to encourage you and consecrate yourself. Get in prayer. Yes, you're around people that's going to be fearful. They don't know how to respond and what these tests mean and the messages that you're delivering. But you are such a asset because you're an ambassador for God. You are in a prime spot to deliver love and kindness and hope, and you really are providing health care. So I just want to encourage you, oil yourself, get before God, let him know, be honest with him. Even if it's like, God, I just dealt with somebody tomorrow, this thing is really real. Let him know it's okay to be real, but know that, like he said, I don't know what the tomorrow is, but you can already shout now. You can already hold your head up because God is going to work a miracle on your behalf. None of these things are going to come nigh your door. None of these things are going to come near you, but he's protecting you. You don't get the privilege of us, whereas we need to stay in. They asking us to stay in so that this thing the numbers can decrease, but you're forced to go out. You don't have that option. But I want to encourage you to know that he is for you. The protection, God is your banner. His banner over you is love. Your healing is surrounding you, and you go in faith knowing that he's got you. Now, I want to get to what I really call the good part. When you jump to chapter 4, it talks about a memorial stones. And so, like I said, you have a situation where the Israelites are getting ready to cross the Jordan. He's given instruction. Joshua, he told them to have 10, to find 12 people, and they were each representing the tribes of Israel. But here's the thing, y'all, that I love. When they're getting ready to cross this Jordan, I want to bring this out. Again, like I said, this is another water miracle. But this was not a miracle of, oh, they're approaching the water and it's just a little high and we can wade across, but God is going to open it up. In the word of God, it says it was overflowing. In other words, you wasn't going to just wade across. You wasn't going to just walk across. Like, this was a season where it was overflowing. But when the priest touched the water, it opened up. And so maybe in the hospitals where you are, you feel like it's overflowing. You have people, the numbers are going up. Lord, we don't have enough staff. It is overflowing. But know that God is for you. Know that when you walk in the door, you bring something. When your feet touch that hospital, when your feet touch that fire station, that engine, you bring the presence of God. Peace is going to be your dwelling place. Joy, even in the midst of chaos, it belongs to you. Just know that he's for you. The God that is in you is going to stand up. He is going to encourage you. He is your healer. He is your fortress. He will be your shelter. Y'all just stay encouraged. Now, as we go on, like I said, Joshua commanded there will be the 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one for each tribe. In chapter 4 through 7, starting at verse 4 through 7, I want you to read that. But Joshua summoned these 12 men to do something. When they had all crossed, he told them specifically, he said, I want you to go across the ark of the Lord in the middle of the Jordan, and they were to lift a stone on their shoulder. And then it was going to be a stone. Remember, 12 men, one for each tribe. And they were to take these stones back. And he said, these stones would be a sign among you. And in the future, when your children, in other words, the next generation asks, what do these stones mean? You were going to be able to tell them about the miraculous miracle that God did at Jordan. But I want to encourage you, my health professionals, you are a lively stone. You are right there on the front line. But just think about what you are going to mean years from now. When people are talking about corona and they like, but you worked every day and did you get diagnosed and did you get corona? How you working on the front line, but this thing ain't never came nigh you. You gonna be a living testimony, a living stone. In Joshua day, he had them go take physical stones to commemorate. And I think this is so important and significant because when you think of a memorial, y'all, it's to commemorate or remember important events and people in time. But I need you to know you are important in time. You are caring for the sick. You are going in tired. The stones of just bearing the weight of all these patients as doctors, whatever your role is, I'm sure it's not easy, but I want you to be encouraged that you are a living stone. You are a memorial to us because you are standing on the front line, but just know that your faith is going to carry. Faith over fear. Know that they need what you got. I want to encourage you on the days that it seems like it's too much, it's heavy, I'm tired. I think about my Jocelyn and Bobby. They're bringing in new lives. You could have mother that's dealing with it, but you're the first one to touch those new babies and to proclaim blessings over them, even when maybe their parent don't understand the time that they're in. Because you're there, there's favor in that floor. Because you're there, there's favor in that unit. Because you're there, there's favor and healing. So I want you to know that you are a living stone. And I thought about 2 Corinthians 3:1-3. My husband brought this to me a long time ago, and it blessed me. And it says, are we beginning to commend ourselves again, or do we need like saying letters of recommendation to you or from you? You yourselves are our letter, written on our hearts, known and read by everyone. You show that you are Christ's letter, delivered by us, not written with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, like in Joshua day, but on tablets of human hearts. Now, in the New King James Version, Letter is translated to epistles. But I want to encourage you, no, back in that day, he was letting them know, we're going to remember this. When your children say, what do these stones? You're going to be able to tell them about the things that God did as you crossed over the Jordan. But now we're under a new covenant. And I want to encourage my health care professionals that, listen, you don't have to go get a stone. You are the living stone. You are the living epistle read by men and women in those hospitals that are dealing with COVID, or those that are dealing with whatever issues they have. You are the living stone. They might not ever make it to a church, but you are the church. Your smile, your grace, your love, your smile, when they looking like, okay, this is going on, why are you happy? That's your opportunity. You never know how God is going to open up the door for you to share. Those that are in fear, but because you're there, there's a spirit of peace. So I just want you to know that you are a living stone. You are the living epistle read by many. You might be the only Jesus that they see. And I want to publicly say thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing for us. Thank you for the sacrifices to my honey bun. I love him so much. I understand as a nurse's wife what they do. I don't know the last time he worked 12 hours. 12 hours ain't never it. Javier don't be home at 7 o'clock. You know, it's always more. But they do it graciously. They do it sometimes not without any recognition, without any thank yous, but just family there demanding more to come home, to kids that are going to demand more and demand more. So they never stop giving. They never stop being called on sometimes. But we want to say thank you. I want to say thank you and let you know that I am praying for you, and be encouraged. Bye.